This is In the Middle with Josh and Sarah Siders. We get it. You're probably going through something that's asking you to dig deep, think differently, and hold on against the odds.
So these are our thoughts about starting new things, shutting some things down, and being with you, right there in the middle.
Welcome back to the In the Middle podcast, the podcast for those of us who haven't arrived yet. I'm Sarah.
I'm Josh. Good to have you with us.
Yay! All right. Where are we at? Episode 34.
I think that's
Guys,
right.
we don't know. Maybe you know.
Yeah. It's into summer. We've forgotten a lot of things already.
We've already forgotten a lot of things.
My cat is scratching his face against the microphone stand, by the way.
Oh my gosh, he's so not helpful.
A little weird.
You're fired from the production team, Cat.
So if you're listening, you can't see the awkwardness, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's not that. It's slightly awkward. He just likes to be up. There's a lot of cords, a lot of things that look like mouse tails. You know what I mean?
A lot of things that look very
here
intriguing.
in the studio.
We'll see if the camera gets jostled.
We need a cat-free studio.
We do, yes. He is definitely rubbing his face against the camera stand now.
Oh my gosh. Why is he the worst? Well, this is very high tech. A lot of production goes into this.
That's right.
A lot of very, very well-paid people behind the scenes, right?
Including a cat.
We're going to point to all of our crew. Yeah, no, the cat's not well paid, nor is he.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are here, and we've got, of course, a sponsor.
We got our sponsor.
An app
Here
sponsor for this time of year. What?
This is the
our sponsor?
Backpack Evacuation Services, specializing in removing half-melted granola bars, road crayons, and a faint smell of despair from last year's school bag.
Ooh, how much would you pay for those services?
Quite a lot, I think. Yeah.
You know, I think that we'll need those. We'll need them.
Yes.
And we'll also need brand new backpack because you're in middle school and high school, respectively, now services.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be.
We'll see about that.
Oh yeah, maybe not.
We've got new backpacks. Well, anyway, yeah.
Yeah, we don't do them every year, guys.
I'm pulling
We're
dad
not those
move. I'm like,
parents.
we just got new backpacks.
Well, James didn't.
Okay.
Maybe he did.
Anyway.
I don't know. See?
Yeah, no, you're right.
We gotta figure this out. We are not new backpacks every year, people. We're just not. We're not.
No.
That feels wasteful.
That's why we call the excavation services.
Yeah, you gotta excavate that because we all it's like fun to
see
be
what's
like
down at the bottom, what's fuzzy.
Oh, no, that's not that's not fun. It's fun to put it away.
Sure.
It's fun to be like, I don't need this.
That's right.
And then, later on you're like, oh shoot, where did that thing go? So yeah, we are about there, guys, here end of July, early August, for a lot of folks in the US getting ready to go back to school.
That's right.
In August
That's right.
sometime. Some of you West or East Coasters are waiting till September. Good for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, not us. We go back too early, in my opinion. Anyway, so this week we're talking about the difference and similarities in the way that men and women experience this midlife transformation. Kind of like, all right, we're going to a similar destination, right? Like we're becoming the sages, the elders of the community.
Yeah.
We're becoming the people with the institutional memory that serve our families, that serve our organizations, communities. Those are really important roles that throughout human history, most people have valued. It's more recent that we're like, oh, we don't know what to do with you once you're over 50. And I'd actually be really curious about that process. But it seems like women talk about feeling invisible after 50. Because somehow we lost this role of the sage. And I don't want to get too off on that topic, but we've really struggled to figure out what it is that we do. And I think maybe it was like when we said, hey, we do, retirement. That's the new goal. In some ways, if that's the goal for someone who's getting older, who has a lot of life experience, it feels like in some ways you're saying, oh, your legitimacy, your value is not, it's to recreate, it's to go, and it's like, yeah, what is the role of the sage? So, I think that's a good one for future, but how do we as men and women respectively take that path? What are some of those similarities and differences, how we get there,
Yeah.
So that's really the topic for today. The reason that this came up was because Josh and I were sitting outside on the patio the other night talking, and we were like, you have developed a lot of these, layered frameworks for men navigating midlife, and I've been super impressed with that. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I can relate to that. And then sometimes I'm like, that doesn't sound. So and then I thought, wait a minute, isn't this universal? And so then it's kind of just made me think like, hey, let's just have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what feels similar. And this isn't the end all be all, right? Like maybe there's, people would even disagree, or maybe there would be some different schools of thought. But yeah. I think I'd be curious. I don't know if you have any thoughts right off the top before we dive in. But
I think some of the, I think it's good to identify some of the universality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the things, broad stroke wise, that are common to men and women navigating what Carl Jung identified first half, second half of life issues.
Yep.
There's some commonalities there, that there's a transition that happens, and a lot of it has to do with internal realities. Now there are obviously there are physical realities, there's external realities, but there's a lot of things that happen inside of us, that happen to us, that we have to figure out, like what is going on, and what does this mean for me?
Yes.
So there are those things that seem to be true for male and female. And yeah, as you're saying though, what has been, I think, historically, traditionally passed down, the male journey into adulthood and then elderhood, there are some unique things that that I couldn't explain how women go through that.
Right, right.
Because I wasn't born yesterday. Because I've been through a bit of this journey myself. And so I think that is like not to go, well, that's so different and I can't relate to that. But to actually appreciate the nuance. To be okay to paint in broad strokes, but then to appreciate the differences that happen.
Yes, absolutely. Because obviously we know something like menopause, right, is unique to women. So you go, oh, okay, that's like we're having our own totally unique experience. And it's like, well, yes. And as you said, there's this internal shifting that's happening that Jung and many others, whether they were like spiritual leaders or, maybe psychology or philosophers, they've kind of identified this, like you said, the universality of the experience. What is it that we do share? And so I would be curious. I mean, we've talked about this in previous episodes, but just to be succinct, like, are there one or two things that do come to mind for you that you're like, yep, this is kind of that shared space in the Venn diagram. That like, we know that men and women are typically dealing with these things as common space.
So I think, so Arthur Brooks in his book From Strength to Strength talks about the change in our neural biology.
Okay.
And how we go from this, and I am blanking on the name, but this kind of like abstract, like thought that we're able to accumulate knowledge and use it creatively.
Yeah.
And how that goes to this crystallized knowledge or crystallized intelligence, where it's more of a retrieval system, and we know how to apply it. That seems, and that starts to happen about 35.
So, fluid
yes,
intelligence.
Fluid intelligence to crystallize. Thank you very much.
Yes, and there's the cat.
There's our mascot.
If you're watching, you can see him. If you're not, then you just have to imagine.
And so from fluid to crystallized intelligence, that seems to happen to men and women. And
yes,
that may be a broad brush stroke. There may be some nuance there, but generally speaking, men and women, starting 35, late 30s, will find that to be true, and it will tend to impact just how they process ideas, and may impact how they view themselves in their work and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that
Okay.
I would say is the same. I think the other thing that I have tended to in the work I've done with men to explain the life journey is the hero's journey,
Right.
and how
Yes.
the meta narrative is what it's called, or the meta mythology, is that we see this everywhere with Luke Skywalker to even the life of Jesus. You can kind of see some of this because it's not, we didn't invent this. This is the story that keeps being told because it does echo the Jesus story. But the young hero is called out into a broader life, and he faces challenges, and he has to use the help of a mentor to overcome. He wants to kind of give up. There's a death and resurrection that happens, and then he comes back and is reintroduced into the tribe. I think that's it's mostly told through the male lens.
Yeah.
But I do think there's some feminine, the heroine journey, you
Yes.
might call it. There's a feminine journey too, that like a Cinderella goes on, and so the fingerprints are on that too.
That's just like good storytelling.
It's just good
essentially.
storytelling. It's
Yeah.
like we tell the same story over and over because it enthralls us, and there's ways to like untell the story or corrupt the story to draw interest, but at the same time you're still interacting with that meta mythology. So
Yeah.
I would say that's a similarity to help understand this midlife transition where men and women are both gonna go through some things.
Yeah. That's interesting that you're bringing the hero's journey into heroine's journey into the the center of the similarities.
Yeah.
Because when we talked about it originally, it was like I thought to myself, wait, if I think about the hero's journey, I do think of Luke Skywalker. I do think of these like male archetypes in stories. And so we had to sit there for a minute and go, wait, are women heroes? And of course, yes, but like, does culture story tend to highlight that? And so then we were like, okay, who, we talked about Moana, we talked about, Brave, we talked about a lot of the, maybe older but newer princesses.
Yeah.
And female leads in a lot of Disney movies.
Yeah.
There's that storyline,
Right.
right? That there's a guide for them,
Yeah.
and there's a challenge, and there's a metamorphosis
Right.
that happens. And a lot of times that process is their first coming of age, right?
Right.
That puberty age kind of thing. Like there's so many stories like that. The hero's journey tends to be like, here's this young unformed person,
Right.
male or female, and then they, have this raw self and this destiny, and the guide comes along and helps them through the challenge, and there's that transformation, and then they become the hero, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, but who, and this was, I think, the missing piece, and again, of similarity, is like, who's the guide? Who is this guide? Where does this guide come from? And it's
Right.
like, the guide is somebody who's been on their own hero's journey.
That's right. Yeah.
Somebody who's been through that process and who knows what it feels like, and who's had the second coming of age, right? So you have that first coming of age where you become the hero and you go through that, in your life. This is kind of what you do in your 20s or 30s. You
Right.
get to be the hero of your life. And then at some point here in the 40s, 50s, this is the part where we begin to shift into, oh, I get to become the guide.
Right.
So that's a similarity that I see for men and women, is thinking about building my empire versus building building to give back.
Right.
Those first 30 or 40 years, maybe 50, do tend to be about like accumulating, achieving, for both men and women in different ways. And then as we get into midlife, we begin to like you talk about the eulogy virtues, the things where we think about legacy, we think about how will I be remembered? What do I want to do? And there's very much this sense of like, what can I give?
Yeah.
That I think is a quality of this age. And I see that from both men and women. So that's a big one. And I don't know as much about the physiology side. So I would be curious if we were going to look at what are the similarities between men and women. because women have this very like distinct, like perimenopause, menopause. Are men having like from the biological side or like the physiological side? Are there specific things that you?
So now you're talking about the differences.
I'm
the two?
just I'm wondering about the similarities. Are there some
right?
some
so there's in men entering middle age, there's what's called andropause, and I think that's a newer field of study. But they're seeing the testosterone dips, especially in this day and age. Like the testosterone levels of men are like terrible.
Oh, they're so low.
And so, but that's exacerbated in middle age unless you do things to combat that. And I think there's just I think what happens, and this isn't really something I know too much about, but I will say from what I've seen, some of the similarities of like bone density loss and muscle loss is more so in men because men typically have more bone density and muscle mass and things like that.
Yes.
So it's same, but more. So it's different.
Okay, right.
In that sense.
It's kind of like whenever there's like an experience, there's going to be the similarities and differences that almost like coexist.
Right.
I heard about andropause, and I was like, there's all these women out there that are like, I'm a menopause champion. They have like the conference, the T-shirt, whatever, and I'm like, who are the andropause champions? Right? Like maybe there are, but
there's some.
Are there?
Yeah, I've seen some out there, but I think if you want to talk about the differences between men and women dealing with midlife things.
Yeah.
I think for men, that's where some of the midlife crisis comes in. Because I think for women, it's like you have to go through menopause. You don't have a choice.
No.
I think for a lot of men, especially in the culture that you've mentioned where we worship youth these days, there's a denial into a crisis where you can deny. And we lean on science in a lot of ways to feed that denial. So, hey, if you're dealing with hair loss, there's probably a pill for that, or there's hair plugs you can get for that.
Oh.
And again, I'm not making moral judgment on this. I'm just saying without scientific, advancements, this is not possible. But hey, if your bone density is decreasing your muscle mass, there's a shot for that. If you are, gaining weight around your middle, other places you don't want it, there's a procedure or a shot that you can take for that.
Yep.
So it really, in some ways, can prolong having to deal with the transition that it really is happening. And so that's why I go back to saying, like, one of the primary shifts is an internal shift of, can I embrace this?
Yeah.
Right? As I enter into it, or am I going to prolong adolescence? Am I going to try and hold on to something that feels like it's slipping through my grasp? That's the soul work. That's the internal work that we really do need to do.
Yeah.
That, again, I'm not against any of that stuff. But if we are so vain to think that's what's going to keep us young and relevant, then what we actually do is rob ourselves of the second coming of age. And we rob the next generation.
Yes, well said.
Mentors and elders and sages.
Yes.
Because we're just kind of stuck in it. Like, no, I'm still young. I'm still with it. I'm hip and cool. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Mike Myers, Austin Powers.
So yeah, I think that's like men, if they have the means, can prolong and deny some things, and eventually deny the work that really is required of them.
Okay, so I will raise you equal.
Okay.
Women are majorly in denial.
Yeah,
Think about all the work.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So that's a similarity. So
Yeah.
yes, our bodies are going through menopause, but I think the denial happens when we're like, well, I can have things tucked or pulled or, Botox, collagen, lip flips, GLP-1s, just getting things that you're like, okay, I can try to stay
Which is
young.
Have you seen some of the internet dialogue around Pam Anderson? Like she
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
She went out in public not wearing makeup, and it was
Yes.
a shock to a lot of people
She's dating Liam Neeson.
And that's
okay,
true too.
people.
And he has a special set of skills to, take care of that. Anybody that would be a naysayer. Anyway, I just think it's interesting.
Yeah. Yes.
How, I mean, the internet has an opinion about everything and everyone.
Everything.
But the fact that someone just chooses to embrace a natural look.
Yep.
And that's a controversy for some people.
Sarah Jessica Parker has been doing that. A lot of women have been going, you know what? I'm just like, I'm not even doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually, maybe I'm removing like implants. I'm detoxing. Whatever. I'm letting myself, Andy McDowell, like age naturally. And I think it's because so many people like got so many procedures done that eventually you either just look old or look like you've had a lot of work done.
Yeah.
And nobody really knows how old you are. You're sort of this like strange version of yourself. And so that's, I think for women, when we don't have a place to land, right?
Yeah.
So if men are supposed to be like young, strong, powerful, virile, whatever the first half of life is, right? I have my first coming of age. I'm a hero, and that's all I know how to be. And this is it for me for the rest of my life. Then you have to maintain that, right? You have to maintain the look. You have to maintain the achievements. You have to maintain the pace. And you try to fight it as long as you can. With women, because women's identity is not just career and achievement, it's also looks.
Yeah.
And that's been true the whole time. So career and achievement's newer. So fortunately, we get to do both. But when we have this idea that we're supposed to look the same because sexiness is what a woman is for.
Yeah.
Right. And sexiness is about, in a primal way, about procreation. Well, once you go through menopause, you have the gift of not needing to procreate anymore. You don't even have to worry about it as a woman. And so you are no longer like supposed to be quote unquote sexy for the purpose of procreation, right? You're not supposed to be like out there putting out the vibe for that purpose, right? So I think that we as women feel lost in a way that does feel unique or different because yes, we're now, thank you feminism. And I do say thank you genuinely. Like I'm grateful that women are in the rooms in so many places and have had chances to be successful and have careers and actually get into these spaces. It's amazing. But it's been complicated because the requirement for us to be young and beautiful is still there. It did not go away.
Right.
So now we're like, I have to be hot and successful. I have to be hot and achieve. I have to be, and I have to figure out how to keep that. And I think that if we don't know that we're going towards sagehood.
Right.
If we don't have that place to land, if we don't think someday I'm going to have another coming of age and I'm going to become the guide. If we're not taught that, then you're just trying to maintain what you've always had. You resist, as you're talking about. You resist the transformation that wants to happen inside of you.
Right.
And so like you're saying, for men, they can kind of like fake it longer, maybe in a way. Like they can they take the pill for the hair loss or, lose some weight. And they try to kind of stay young that way.
And I mean, truth be told, that can be a good thing. I mean, it really can be to some degree.
That's
like,
so true. That's so true.
If some weight loss actually prolongs your life, like that's good.
Yes.
But again, it's the reason setting
point.
behind that.
Yep.
Is it, I feel stuck in a dead end job and I'm going to bail on my wife and kids and go, get fit and hook up with some younger chick. That's not good. That, and no amount of weight loss or hair plugs or any of that is going to fix like the hole that's in your soul.
Yeah.
And that is the work that you're avoiding that needs to be done.
That is a genuine crisis. I think that we're seeing women get sort of elevated in media right now for having the same midlife crisis we like blamed men for having, leaving their husbands or families for like a younger man and whatever. So that feels like, again, another episode, but it's like, what's up with that? Like, why have we valued that midlife crisis as like, oh, this is your second coming of age, is
Right.
that it's sexual or that it means leaving your family or whatever. I think it's like when you lose the destination and the identity of sage, when you don't value it as a culture, then it's literally just up for interpretation
Yeah.
on what. So it's like, oh, well, I guess I have enough money and resources to do whatever the hell
Yeah.
I want.
Well, and I think some of it is, again, the similarities. This is that we don't have in our culture, we've lost a value for elderhood. And so it's, let me say it like this. It's not hard for us to be able to encourage teenagers, hang in there through the awkward phases. I know it's hard. I know it seems like you have all these surging hormones and emotions that you don't know what to do with, but hang in there, because on the other side of this is adulthood.
Wow.
Look, I went through this too.
Wow.
Right? That's simple. It's still,
Yeah.
it's still very difficult.
Yeah.
Right. But we don't have a generation, it seems like, of
Yeah.
elder sages going, look,
Yeah.
when you hit your late 30s, it's going to feel like your life is falling apart.
Oh my God.
It's gonna feel like you're a teenager again, because you have all this stuff going on you don't know what to do with.
Yes.
But hang in there. I've been there too.
Oh my
And what's on the other side of this is what you would describe, peace, self-acceptance, the realization of my life is meant to give back and bless others.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, that's like, I don't really want that.
No.
Like I don't know that I've done everything I want to now.
Yes,
you're still trying to fight and
That.
push against it.
Oh.
I think we've lost not only the appreciation for mentors, elders, sages. It's like this self-fulfilling prophecy of they're not here then, because there's so few that have made it to the other side intact. And we don't value it. We don't have a generation to go, you should, because you'll be better off.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point is there's some researcher study done. I need to actually find this. Actually, I heard a pastor talk about this, John Mark Comer. He talked about how people in their 80s, like people at the end of life, were asked, when was your most fulfilling decade? And they said, number one is the 80s. My 80s.
In their 80s?
Their 80s was the most fulfilling,
Wow.
joy-filled
Wow.
decade. Second was their 70s.
Wow.
Third was their 60s.
What?
Life can keep getting better.
Wow.
Because in the second half of life, the goalposts move.
Yeah.
You realize what you've been building isn't actually what satisfies. And what satisfies is on this other mountain, this other thing. And you just get to this Zen place of I'm at peace.
Yeah.
And I can actually, I've become this person that can give back and be there to bless younger generations and things like that.
Yeah.
But when you don't value it, you don't go looking for it, and then you don't really go through it yourself. So again, it's this self-fulfilling prophecy. So yeah, we're in this kind of terrible cycle that we need to break out of as a culture.
Yeah. Yeah. That is really, really interesting, thinking through all of that. Yeah. I mean, the differences and similarities for men and women, gosh, feels like there's a lot. My brain is going a lot of different places right now with this.
Okay, let me ask this then.
Yeah.
If you were you're in your early 40s, okay? This is clicking for you. This is making sense for you. What would you have told, what do you wish someone would have told you 10 years ago?
I mean, what you were saying resonated so much. This person that, the parent that says to the child, you're going to go through some changes. I was literally picturing myself making a reel earlier today about someone who's older.
Yeah.
Sitting down with someone who's in their 30s and being you're going to go through some changes. And the person's like, what? And I was literally picturing this, fake staged conversation for entertainment purposes. So it's funny that you're saying it, because I'm yes, that's what I feel like we need. We need the, people in their 50s, 60s that are having these rich experiences, that have finally been able to right size the problems in their lives, they care way less about what other people think about them. They're living for a legacy. They've realized that, like, if their kid doesn't eat a vegetable at every meal, that everything's going to be fine. Like, there's just all these things that aren't a problem anymore. And it's just like there's an ease to that, right? Because you've been through so many things. You trust yourself, you trust God, or the universe, or whatever, you're like, it's gonna be okay.
There's I think Rollheiser calls it a mellowness of soul.
Mellowness of soul, yes.
Like, is your soul mellowing as you get older?
Honestly, I personally feel like we don't have that many people that are there. And so they sort of feel like, if you don't know to become a sage and you don't allow yourself to become more mellow, then you're just basically an older and older and older person who's trying to do the things you did when you were younger. Because you don't allow the shift to happen. And I wish that someone would just sit down and say, these are the changes. And if you will allow yourself to, like, it takes a decade. It takes a decade for a young person to become an adult, right? And it takes around a decade. You're kind of your 40s, really, I think. Late 30s, 40s, to kind of go through that process. And it is physiological for men and women. Definitely for women.
I think it's a lot of things.
It's spiritual, emotional, relational, societal. It is holistic.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is completely, like, every part of you is being, like, transformed. But I just think it's so crazy. It feels like it's coming for you no matter what, theoretically, right? Like it's this thing that wants to pull you in. Just like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, right? Like, it's like, this is coming for you. And at the same time, I just feel like I see all these people kind of, like, gripping onto the tunnel, right? And, like, pushing away and be like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And it's like, if we don't have anyone on the other side being like, hey, it's so great over here. It's so fun. Like, being an adult is fun, guys.
Well, and
now we can say being a sage is fun.
As tough as like the teenage years were, I know tons of preteens, like, they're excited to go through puberty and to be a teen. And it means freedom and responsibility and growth spurts and personal development and
new
freedom,
experiences.
And so, like, gosh, it feels like we need to reframe it.
We do.
For that.
We
because
do.
It's like, I would love people to be more excited to go. But don't call it midlife. Call it something else. I don't care about terminology, but this, like, the second half of life, the second mountain is like, okay, my greatest challenges are ahead.
Yes.
And that's thrilling to me.
My greatest contributions are ahead.
Greatest contributions, and maybe that's what you lead with. So it's because it's like, otherwise you're just white knuckling.
You're just an increasingly weird looking old person who is trying to sound cool and keep up.
It's true, though. And I think that's what I want people to know, is that, like, if you run the tape forward of your life, 10, 20, 30 years, who are you becoming?
Yeah.
And do you like that person?
Yeah.
Right? Because I think the ground...
That's a great question.
Like, the choices shrink. It's either this or that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's not, you don't hang out in this middle zone of, like, apathy. Like, life is forming you into someone. And you can transition well. You can do the work. You can, give into mellowness of soul, or you can become more reactive. You can become more captured by the political climate. You can become more captured by fear and anger that our culture is just feeding us all the time. But you don't stumble into sagehood.
No,
like, you can stumble into grace. I really do believe that.
Yeah,
you can get kind of thrown off the first mountain and stumble into grace.
Yes.
But it still is this choice of, like, I'm going to keep going because it is worth it.
Yes.
And that's what I would want people to know, is that it is worth it. And our world desperately needs older, wiser, like, not hardened, but softened people who have been on that journey.
Yeah, the people that are patient You know, we've referenced so many different, you know, people that have influenced us or the archetypes that we've seen. And, you know, I'm grateful for those people that have been there that I've always had since I was 19, a 55-year-old version of myself, thanks to Pam, who we had a whole podcast about those, you know, people.
I had a conversation with someone who it was just this last week, someone who I recognize who's a bit older than me. And I'm like, life has done a number on this guy. He's starting a new project reluctantly. He's been through quite a bit of loss, and I knew him a decade and a half ago, and I was, you know, young and my a-hole self, but so I like judged him for it, or like could see some things, and then kind of fast forward through some really trying times, and he's starting this new thing, and he's kind of like, yeah, I didn't ask for this, but I'm just kind of, and here's what I know, here's what I told these people, like here's what I can do, here's what I can't do. If you're looking for this, then I'll give it a shot, but you know, you're not going to get this, that, and the other thing from me. And I'm like, I really appreciate hearing that. I really appreciate hearing the realization and sort of the kind of chill, like, almost the shrug of shoulders, like, this is who I am. This is what I have to offer.
Yes.
You know, he's 100%.
Not trying to.
I just am like, yep, that's Godspeed to you.
Yeah.
Sir, you know?
Yeah. This sounds like a cool person. Like, it sounds like he's kind of been allowing life to, he got smushed first, and then he's kind of like, oh, I'm going to participate in this.
You know, God is calling him into something, and he's like, I guess if there's no one else.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, yep, I get that.
Wow. Yeah, I know. It's like you lose your bravado. You have more humility. You can kind of just go a little slower. I have been realizing, like, I had this, I was not feeling good for a lot of the summer, just with travel or different things. My body just felt bad. And one of my clients was like, okay, well, you need to sit down and like journal, and ask your body what you need. I was like, I love this. You know, obviously a coaching client. But I was like, good for you. I was like, I think I would say that to someone else. But so I did. I kind of sat and I was like, oh, my body wants me to be slower. And I thought, I kind of pictured myself like doing Tai Chi, you know? And I was like, there is something funny about slowness, that we think of youth and speed and efficiency and productivity and worth. And it's like, slowness. Why do we want that? And I'm like, I, first of all, need it for my personality. But it's also like, when you move more slowly, you know, who wrote 3 Mile an Hour God? Watchman Nee, or
Soke Koyama, a Japanese theologian.
I was like, it's a Japanese theologian. I can't remember who it is.
I did not get his name right, but yes.
So
3 Mile an Hour.
3 Mile an Hour God, and it's like, hey, God's moving that slowly.
Love
like you can either
slowly.
Love walks slowly, and so it's like when you are a auntie, grandparent, you know, uncle, whatever, you can, like, when it's not just running after the kids or running into the next thing, you can move slowly. There's just so much richness that can happen. I mean, I was just appreciating the birds, just looking out the window at the birds and the little pool and seeing them play. And I was like, I'm just standing here looking at birds. Yeah. And it's like, yep, that's what the era I'm in. I like really appreciate them. I'm glad that they have the water. Yeah. They're very cute. I like hearing their sounds.
I was listening to like, I don't know, cicadas or locusts or whatever out there the other night. I'm like, oh, it's summer.
It's kind
like,
of,
you know, it's like, this is summer in Kansas.
Yes,
it's just,
this is what it sounds
noisy
like.
And it's still a little bit, you know, bright at 9 p.m. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to miss this in a month.
Yeah, right. There's the crickets, the locusts, and there's fireflies, and it's very like a Midwestern summer, and it's great. Yeah. But it's like, you have to slow down to see that. And I think that's something that, you know, age forces you to slow down, perhaps. So there's a shared experience there that both men and women, I think, are seeing. But it's like we have to recognize that just because I think this is like one of the big things for me is like your body's going through menopause or andropause, or your soul is leading you into this like shift of the first mountain to second mountain. And you can be like mad about it, or you can make fun of it, or we can be like, oh yeah, hot flashes, or low testosterone, or haha, you're bald now, or, you know, aching back, and just make like the second mountain all about like what doesn't work anymore. Or like, oh yeah, I got these weird, you know, crow's feet, and, you know, and I'm just like, I'm so over that. I am so over talking about aging, or even the second half of the second mountain, as like that all it is aging, right? That all it is like increasingly disappearing, increasingly becoming irrelevant.
It is not. It is. No. It is a greater capacity.
Yeah.
Like a greater capacity to human.
Yes.
That's really what it is. It's, you feel it as a loss, you process the grief, and you realize going through that journey, I have so much more capacity to give. Yeah. And sometimes it does mean it's a addition through subtraction.
No, addition through subtraction. Yes. I think that's like another succinct way to describe, you know, the second half of life. And so there are, as we're talking, maybe even more similarities than I, you know, thought or realized. Because, you know, being in the space that I'm in, it feels like menopause, you know, the physiological side and the emotional, relational side has felt like, oh, wow, that's so big. And do men even have this? And, you know, this is so interesting. And I do think that, like, for women specifically, if a lot of us have babies, right? So it's like our functioning of our reproductive system is like a core part of our identity. Yeah. And it really is like how we're known and relate to the world. So it is very different for us to all of a sudden shift. And so many women, they're like, oh, because I'm no longer sexy, I'm now invisible. And if I was going to load up a room full of those women, I would be like, no, you're not invisible. You just haven't figured out how to show up now that you're not a 25-year-old bikini model or whatever it was that you ever were. Like, you know, it's like, that is not the goal anymore. That is not the goal. So yes, we would like to just sit everybody down. We're having the coming of age talk with everybody. We are your parents. And here's the funny thing is we're not even on the other side yet. But if you haven't had this talk with an aunt, uncle, parent, caregiver, friend, rabbi, priest, pastor, therapist, it gets hard in your late 30s. It's hard physically. It's hard with your identity. Your relationships shift. Your kids don't need you as much. You start to have morbidity thoughts. And it feels like embracing sagehood means embracing death. And yes, it does. And no, it doesn't.
Memento mori.
It's like it does. But it's like as soon as you have a deadline, all of a sudden, everything that matters surfaces.
It's really clear.
Even if you're like, oh, I have 40 more years, you're still like, this is a deadline. This means I'm not just going to be here infinitely. And it does. It helps things surface. And so, yes, we are in the middle of that. We're in the middle of that right now. And even as we say it's worth it, we aren't even fully like reaping the benefits of it yet. You know?
True.
Yeah. There's so many things we talked about today that I'm like, I need that to be its own episode. Like the whole, we had one about this, but it was like when you said things I wish I had done, like when you're like, oh, I'm getting off the second mountain, but it's like, oh no, but there's all these things I didn't do. And then you're, no, I'm being rushed onto the second mountain and I'm not ready.
Yeah.
I don't want to go. And it's not necessarily because I think that, you know, my eyelids are drooping or I have 10 extra pounds. It's just like, I think about that. I'm like, oh, there's all these things that I wanted to do.
That's right.
We have an episode for this. Go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
What is it? What if I never get to do it? Or what if I never do this or something?
Right.
That was kind of one of the first things you and I were exploring when we first got into this.
That's right.
Was like, I remember that when you turn 40, you go, maybe I'll never.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, wow, that's profound. And then I said, I'm not asking myself that question, because that was the year I was running for office. And I was like, I'm awesome. I'm here to kick butt and take names.
Yeah.
And that was not actually how that went. I was ushered in right behind you. I just didn't know yet.
Yeah,
I didn't know. But yeah, I mean, we had our friend, introduce us to this framework. And I think that was a gift.
Yeah, it really was.
So we were it's almost like we had somebody sit us down a little bit.
Right. He helped make sense of it.
Yes.
And then, I started listening to some teachings about it, read David Brooks's book, The Second Mountain, just all helpful stuff.
It's kind of like, why is everything breaking down? And then you go, oh, this is actually how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to work forever as it did before. So anyways, I don't know. This might be like bad news or good news depending on where you're at in the process.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm excited for 10 years from now when we can have the podcast and we can sit and talk and we can say, we're on the other side, bees. Or, what's up?
Do you remember what we thought this would look like?
Oh, yeah.
And just laugh at ourselves a little bit.
No, we're always wrong. We're like, we have no idea. But,
it's just part of it.
I have my 55-year-old self, right, that I can consult. And I'm like,
that's right.
That is not that much more than a decade away.
Yeah.
But I do feel excited about that. Because my life, the problems of my life have so much been not about the circumstances, but about the anxiety I felt going into them and going through them. And then coming out on the other side and be like, good thing that happened, or I'm glad that I don't have those people in my life wreaking havoc or whatever, right? It's like, it's okay. And so I'm so excited to continue to right-size things.
Yeah.
Like my problems will get smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so awesome. So I can't wait for that.
It's good.
Yep.
Yeah, same.
Same. And that's a similarity. So hopefully if you needed permission, if you needed this little talk about your second coming of age, we're giving that to you. And, whether you're man or woman going through this journey, there's so much to look forward to, and not in an AARP kind of way. Okay. But literally we need a magazine that's not about retirement. It's about sagehood.
It's true.
We need a sagehood magazine.
It's true.
So I don't know. More to come, I guess. All right. Well, what questions we got? Yeah. What are you reading, watching, or listening to?
I'll tell you what I've been watching. Dishwasher repair videos on YouTube.
Wow.
This is no joke.
So boring.
I know.
No,
but it's the thing
we had
you do.
Our
dishwasher was mostly out of commission. It basically sanitized things with hot water. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. I think I can fix this. So just watching a lot of YouTube videos.
I appreciate you being a can-do guy.
Try and figure that out. Well, yeah, it's like, we could get a new washer. Or I could just try this part. We'll see.
Right, exactly.
We check back with us. We might still.
No, we might be getting a new dishwasher.
Because right now, our dishwasher is named James and John.
Oh.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. We're doing some old school hand washing, which is funny. But yes, I appreciate that, certain projects you decide to tackle it.
Yeah.
And, he's way more handy than you might think for a suburban dad. I think you're pretty handy.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
Well, thanks to YouTube and Google. So.
Dude. Yeah, it's a new era for sure. Yeah. Anything else you're reading, watching, listening to?
That's my answer.
Okay, honestly. That's your answer. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
It's on my head.
I feel like so we were traveling on a lot of Saturdays and I didn't have my days off. So I'm back to doing my New Yorker on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And I freaking love it.
Yeah.
I read the whole thing. I get in on a Friday and I just go through the whole thing. I don't read the fiction.
Yeah.
Fiction can sometimes stress me out.
Okay.
I'm in someone else's world and I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know about this.
Yeah. This world's weird enough.
And some people like love it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
good.
I don't know. I wish I was cooler and more chill, but I'm not sage yet. I'm not sage enough to read fiction in the New Yorker yet. But yeah, I feel like that's what I'm doing. And I always just, sometimes when I read my E.B. White. So yeah, nothing new, nothing really very new this week. And I feel like I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
The old standbys. What is something that you're loving right now?
Yeah. That's a great question. I would say Sabbath. After many Saturdays of being out of town and gone,
So many.
I got a Sabbath. I got most of a Sabbath last weekend. Yeah. And that was nice. And I get most of one this weekend.
Yeah, same.
So that's really
Same.
nice.
It's so
that's-
nice.
I think that's really
Like having
loving
that
That's
Friday
bringing me
night
life.
chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
Cartoons with the boys. I mean, it's just a good family rhythm. So
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely been good for me too. And I've just been tweaking a little bit of things on my nutrition, and that's been helping.
yeah.
Feeling way better.
Yeah.
So that I'm like I have
That's
more
what's-
energy. I feel like a whole person.
It's good.
I don't get stuck in the 3 p.m. afternoon slump. So yeah,
Yeah. Good.
good times. All right. Well, we will be back at ya next week
That's
with
right.
more to come. Maybe one of those many episode ideas that I came up with during this episode. But yeah, we'll be back with more. We'd love to hear your thoughts on additional similarities or differences between the male-female experience in midlife. Tell us what we should expect. If you are further along than us, we would love to have your wisdom. So please pass it on. And until next time.
See you then.
This is the In the Middle podcast with Josh and Sarah Siders. Visit inthemiddlecoaching.co for other resources, courses, and helpful tools.